Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers from Monkey Lord, and today I'm going to teach you all about the dark art of whammy bar techniques. Dive bombs, lizard's neck, drop kicks, the cat, punch notes, and many more. To be honest, I started off absolutely loving using my bar, and I relied on it far too much. I was a huge fan of Joe and Steve, still am. I'm talking Satch and Vi here. I became quite good with the bar, and it kind of was a detriment to my music. I ended up relying on the bar far more than a good lick. And let that be a lesson to you. The bar is a wicked tool for getting some interesting sounds and tones. There are a couple of things you can do with the bar that you can't do without one, but none of it compares to the might of a wicked lick or a good tune. So why don't I show you my tool? This is my Wilkinson Tremolo. This thing is fantastic. It's a vintage style 6-screw trem. Various different ways of setting these up. I personally prefer to lift the middle 4, have the outside 2 slightly sunk, so you pivot upon those 2. You want to be able to fit a plectrum underneath here so it slightly floats free. You should be able to manipulate it with one finger, and also wherever you put it, it should stay. That's the sign of a good trem. I hate it when they flop down after use. That's not very practical. If you're unsure how to set up your tremolo, just go and see a great luthier or a really good guitar shop near you and have it set up, because it will save you hours of heartache. A badly set up tremolo will just ruin your life. For this lesson I'll be using a Chapman Guitars ML1 and a Marshall JVM 410 set to death mode through a 1960s Marshall 412 cab. Now before we start, I tune to E flat, so you may want to do that, but you don't really need to. So here are some tuning notes. So here is exercise 1, the dive bomb. Now there are 2 variants upon a dive bomb. The first one is that you grab the bar with your left hand, like Satch would do, and you pick squeal a note and dive it from there, a bit like this. That's pretty cool. All I'm doing is grabbing the bar, pick squealing, using the thumb on my pick hand to rub over the string as I pick the string, causing an artificial harmonic anywhere on the string and any string I need, and diving it with the left hand. You see, you can find a harmonic any way you want as long as you have the technique right. The other way is that you strike just ahead of the 3rd fret on generally the G, B or D string. If you go just ahead of that 3rd fret, you'll find a bunch of really nice bright harmonics, which also reappear up here on the neck because the neck is mirror imaged. So all I've done is strike the string, in this case it's the G string. I've just dabbed my finger just in front of that 3rd fret to cause the harmonic, and then I've dived it down. Now I'm picking with the bar already in my right hand. So it's pick, dab, dive. Pick, dab, dive. Write that down. And you can do this on any string just ahead of the 3rd fret. Let's try the E string, for example. Far more slayer in its tone. You can do this, as I said, mirror imaged up here. This would be my 15th fret, just ahead of the 15th fret, depending on the scale of your guitar. Maybe it'd be just ahead of it sometimes. But it's around that 3rd fret. Bands like Rage Against the Machine do things where they grab a bunch of strings and do the same thing. And you get a nice effect where all the different intervallics mingle and merge and become dissonant and horrible. And in fact, that leads us to our second technique. This is where you take 2 harmonics and dive them at the same time. For this example, we use the 19th fret E and B string. Now they're a fourth apart, And as I dive them down, you're going to get all sorts of movements within the guitar, and they start to go in and out of position, and you get some lovely effects. Check this out. Now that sounds particularly good if you get two notes which are exactly the same and dive it down, because as the guitar moves they slightly sit out of place and you get this wonderful banging of the two notes in the air. So for example, when you tune your guitar with harmonic, if I do that and dive it, you get a wicked sound change. That's particularly enchanting, isn't it? So for the dissonant dive bomb, we're going to go 7th fret on the E string, and we're going to go 5th fret on the B string, giving us both exactly the same note. Here's how it sounds to me. Now for the lizard's tongue. This is a fantastically musical, very guttural and kind of textural sounding technique that I think Joe Satriani probably invented. Ah, Lord Joe. And all you do is you depress the bar, choose a note, slide it up as you lift the bar back to normality, back to the natural setting, and then play a lick. And the secret is to land on your feet. So for example, if I'm playing a lick like, I want to land on this first note of the lick, so I'll slide to it using a lizard technique like this. And it sounds muck badass. So very slowly and simply, you grab a note, any note you want, as long as you're going to land on a lick you're going to play. Make sure you dive the bar before you strike the note, slide it on up, and then release it as you slide, so when you get to your lick, you're pretty much in key. You could do exactly the same thing going backwards, so you could take a note, dive it, and then release it as you come back up.